Financial institutions, banks and others are relying increasingly on technology to provide the backbone to their services. What we're also finding is that the providers of those technologies are few and far between. So technology is concentrated in a very small number of providers, and they are providing some very critical service to banks and other financial institutions. We talk about this as being the rise of the shadow infrastructure, the real backbone to the financial services system that perhaps people aren't so aware of. I think the risks with this are that actually if one of those infrastructure providers fails or goes into insolvency or is hacked or so on, then we could have a real problem for the financial services industry, given that they are prevalent throughout that industry. Previously in the financial crisis, we've had issues around banks and financial institutions being too big to fail. I think one of the concerns of regulators is now that actually many of the financial institutions are highly connected. There's a real risk of contagion that if one financial institution is impacted, technology means that all of these financial institutions are connected in a way which means that failure will simply permeate the whole financial industry, particularly where there is a concentration in just a small number of technology service providers. I think regulators are beginning to become aware of this backbone, the fact that there are unregulated providers of core services to banks and financial institutions. The typical way regulators deal with that at the moment is to regulate the financial institution and say you've got to put in place all sorts of systems and controls around that. But I think we will begin to see regulators turn their focus on the actual service providers themselves. And I think we will see the regulators turn up the heat on financial institutions in terms of what they need to do to ensure that they're comfortable with their technology service providers. Banks will inevitably be looking much harder at their outsourcing arrangements, at their technology service providers. They will want to open the black box to understand what's actually inside that black box rather than just accept the output from that.